Making games is hard, which you probably know at this point. I, like me, 5 years ago, yeah, this is me, stupid little kid, doesn't even know how to make games. I mean, look at this goofy ass guy, like, and this is me now, a very serious game developer right here. Anyways, I just wanted to show you a journey to get here. Imagine this, it's 2020, this bum-ass console just dropped, everyone's locked up inside, and I got an incredible idea. Since I love playing games so much, why don't I try to make one? I mean, it can't be that hard, like there are so many games out there, like, I can do this easy, come on. Games, like, what are those even, like, So, I immediately searched for a game engine to help me make games, and I stumbled upon Unreal Engine 4. Now, if you have any game development experience, you probably know it's not gonna go over so well. Well, you're right, I spent an entire summer suffering my way through tutorial hell so bad, actual hell is probably more pleasant, just to end up making some I don't even know what I'm looking at our game. Yeah, we're not gonna mention this game existed, we're just moving on. Alright. So fast forward to autumn of 2020. I find a goofy cat looking out, and since I'm clearly a generational talent when it comes to making games, I try my hand at it. You know, my last venture didn't go over so well, but it's just Unreal Engine's fault. 100% confirmed, by the way, not a skill issue. So, after finding a game engine more suited to my skills, an engine literally made for kids, after messing around with it a little bit, I end up creating my magnum opus. And if you don't believe me, just watch this incredible trailer I made for it. Mishi Games presents In a world where bats kill cats, show no mercy. Because he won't. Nyam nyam megeszlek. Mishi Free, available now on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox 360 and PS5. Yeah, I mean, the footage speaks for itself, honestly. I don't think I need to say any more at this point. Unfortunately, this is the only surviving evidence of the game ever existing, so yeah. I know all of you were really excited to play this one, but unfortunately, I'll have to disappoint you. You have to wait for the Xbox 360 release date. And that about sums up my achievements for the entirety of 2020. And we're moving on to the new year. And just like the saying goes, new year, new games, I guess. I don't think they say that. It's about January at this point, and in school we're learning about some Microbit handheld console that has 5x5 pixels with a developer interface very similar to Scratch. And as you probably know at this point, those two things immediately captivate my brain. And I just had to make a game for that specific handheld console. So I spent an entire day dragging some blocks around onto the screen, and by God's miracle, or I'm not even sure what, a game actually came out of it. Yeah, I was just as surprised as you are now. The code, if you can even call it that, was a crime against humanity. So many if-else statements, hard-coded conditions, like, what even is this? But it was kind of a fun game, and at the time I even managed to convince my unfortunate friends to play it. The game was called Rockfall, and basically a random pattern of 4 pixels would fall down with a gap of 1 pixel between them, and you had to move left to right with the A and B buttons to dodge them. They'd get faster and faster, and when you die it would show your high score on the screen. Yeah, pretty advanced technology if I do say so myself. And the game is still preserved, because you can just switch tabs here and copy paste the entire Python code of the game. So if you guys really want to play it, I could post this online somewhere, though I very much doubt that's the case. Wait, what was that? Python? Well, coincidentally, that is exactly what I'd be using to make my future games. Yeah, let's call them games. So I got started on learning Python, and since I'm a very experienced programmer, this only took me a couple of days. Yeah, this did not take me a month to understand even the basics. I am definitely very good at this. I got started with a graphics engine called Turtle. Had no idea what a sprite was, so everything I made was a simple shape, and made some absolutely incredible games such as Treefall, just like Rockfall but a tree, as well as Rick's Adventures, just like Treefall but Four Directions, and No Life game. This one must have been a reference to the developer. Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest. Safe to say, my career as a game developer was at an all-time low at this point. This is where most people would retire, but I'm not most people. You probably realized it by now, but nobody can stop me from making bad games. I quickly stumbled upon an engine called Pygame and discovered the art of making sprites for my games, so you can actually use your eyes while playing. Yeah, I was getting really good at this point. After following a couple of tutorials and making my No Life game, as you do, since it's an absolute banger of a game, I realized this engine was not for me, because I don't actually know why. I was probably just bad at it, so I looked for another Python engine and stumbled upon Ursina, not very well known engine that doesn't really support anything really. And the documentation is full of spelling mistakes, and it was now the middle of summer 2021 at this point, and it had been about a year since I started making games, so this was a great time to show my progress to the whole world by undertaking a huge project. So naturally, I remade my game Treefall and gave it some assets, and I do realize the irony at this point. This is the third time I made my Microbit Rockfall game, always doing it slightly worse than the original, but yeah, it do be like this sometimes. This game is atrocious. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I spent an entire summer making this, a recurring theme in my summers at this point. Maybe I should get a life. Anyway, this thing is one Python file that's 5,000 lines of code. What the hell? I'm so serious right now. I've never seen something more atrocious and cursed in my entire life. Not even Yonder a dev could come up with this. I don't even know what to call it anymore. But the game was definitely a game of all time. That is undeniable. And honestly, probably one of my best games yet. Now, much to your ears' misfortune, I made everything for this game except some of the assets, like sprites, including the sound effects and the music. So you probably want to unplug your headphones for this part, because here comes 30 seconds of uninterrupted gameplay. Yeah, I even made a boss for the game, but I didn't finish it, probably for the better. I mean, look at this goofy guy, like, honestly. Other than, you know, the controls being dog shit, the code being unreadable, it running like shit, and the music being unbearable, the sound effects piercing my ears, and the game mechanics being really obnoxious while the game was way too unbalanced. You know, if you look past all that, it was honestly a banger of a game, I'm not gonna lie. 10 out of 10 IGN, for sure. After that success and realizing that finishing a game is hard, but I mean mostly just realizing that I don't really want to look at that code anymore, I left the game to rot away on my hard drive. We were learning about web development at school in the meantime, you know, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all that good stuff, and I realized I could make a game with this. Yeah, I should probably not be allowed 100 feet of a computer at this point, because whenever I have a realization like this, I usually just end up making the worst, like, humanly unplayable, unwatchable. So I watched a couple of tutorials on how to set up a canvas, and even ended up making a simple game engine called the Mishi engine, naturally. Nothing like naming your engine after yourself, am I right? not egotistical at all. We all do this, guys. Come on, and that's just a classic, a hood classic, all-time classic. So after making some simple games like Pong, Christmas Gift Catcher, and whatever this is, I moved on to the most natural and obvious next step: remaking my game Rockfall in JavaScript, which was now called Orbit after the Python version, and now it's Orbit Lite because it's a website or whatever. Yeah, Orbit Lite I also didn't finish because, well, finishing games is hard or whatever. Yeah, or I'm just pretty lazy. Here's uninterrupted gameplay of the game, I guess, if you really want to see that.
Eltűnik minden, amit tanultam, éreztem, süllyedek, nem hiszem el Istenem, védkeztem immáron, a tenger fenekére érkeztem, szívemben túlságosan sokáig éltettem, nem igaz, borzalmas, vérletlen, a szívem nem beteges, éretlen, hogy lehetek ennyire végtelen, hogy egy ilyen nő lelépett én tőlem, hey!
Fun fact, the cute browser game stuff you may find on my channel still is also from this era. I was testing out procedural generation, but I didn't really know what Perlinoy was. I was testing out procedural generation, but I didn't really know what Perly noise was, so it's not really good, like, at all, but it's definitely something I look back on with a smile on my face. It's 2022 at this point, and wow, I'm really old now. I also managed to overcome my PTSD of working in Unreal Engine, just to be completely overwhelmed and get nothing done, and now I'm a little more confident of a developer. So I got a genius idea. Why don't I learn Unity instead of Unreal Engine, which is supposed to be a much easier engine to make games in? You already know what's gonna happen at this point, if you watched this far already. Nothing good came out of this decision. After watching a few tutorials, I obviously remade my game, Rockfall, in the engine as well. Of course, like, why wouldn't I? You know, as you do. Are you even surprised at this point? Like, come on, you clearly haven't been watching if you're surprised. This was Orbit 5 at this point, or Rockfall 5, I guess. I can't even keep count anymore, but I'm gonna be honest with you, this was actually a fun game. I added a few mechanics like shooting to the game. They made a bunch of songs and they're actually not that bad now. I'm not sure if you've been paying attention, but I put a couple of those songs under the video. If you're watching with headphones, you might have already realized that. Now, everything about this game was just okay. Like, you didn't want to take your eyes out and cut off your ears when you played it, but it also wasn't very good. I even documented my game progress on Microbit.io. You should check it out. I have all my finished / playable games there, link in the description below. And made a mini devlog series of posts there on what I updated. Honestly, I don't know why I did this, like nobody was reading that. It's kinda just schizophrenia. The game obviously wasn't finished. You can go over to Microbit.io, link in the description, to play it if you want to, but that's about it. After this, I moved on to making smaller projects to just mess around in Unity for the most part, but nothing serious came out of this. And honestly, most of these games are lost to time, but I tried to find a couple to showcase in the footage in this video. And then the year struck 2023, and at this point I was kind of a laughingstock of my friends for working on games for 4 years and never actually finishing any of them. So my New Year resolution was to finish and release a game in the big year of our Lord 2023. In January, I got started on a small, local, 2-player physics game where you push a ball around trying to get it into each other's nets to score points. At this point, I just wanted something simple I could finish, and this was exactly that. It took me a while to get it right, but in about 3 weeks I actually did finish it, and somehow, someway, I managed to convince a game hosting website to host it on their website. Yeah, this garbage you see on your screen right now is actually up on a website, and I technically make money from the ads playing in the game. So it's safe to say at this point I'm a million. Oh no, I'm not. But hey, $80 is $80, so let me just cash this out right now, and you need $100 at least to cash it out. Well, that's okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't really need the money anyways, you know. I love seeing it sit there, stare at me with a menacing smile. After the great success, pretty much my entire class was playing my game, and somehow they were all better than me. How? Like literally how? I spent hours, maybe tens of hours testing this game. How are they better? Even the simple bot I coded is still better than me. The bot is literally 2 lines of code. Get position of the ball, go towards the ball. How am I losing this? It just felt great finally releasing a game other than Rockfall, which was also done. After this, word spread around school that I make games. I really don't know why this game of all things was a hit, but nice, I guess. Now, in school, I wasn't very good at physics. One might even call me bad at physics, but I was kind of a game developer myself, so my physics teacher had a proposition for me. If I remake a physics demonstration kind of game for him, and I make it better, he'll make my grades go from almost failing to a perfect score at the end of the term. Now, as a human being, I would never accept something like this. It is simply outrageous and it goes against all of my values as a person. It is unfair against other students to even consider this offer. So I got started making that game, and I had a strict time frame to finish it, until the end of the term, which was only a few months down the line. Since it was March at this point, I had to be done with this by the end of May. I had no time to waste at all. I just spat on my PC. The game of reference was not great, so I actually had a realistic chance of making something better than that, which was definitely nice. I spent around a month or so working on it, and it actually turned out pretty well. It also uses simple shapes like Battle, my other game, but it was a huge technological improvement from my last game. There was an options menu, and there were even 6 languages you could choose between. Yeah. Pretty advanced stuff for sure. I made 15 levels of varying difficulty. It does get pretty tough at the end, but my father did beat the entire game on his first try in about 30 minutes, so if you want a point of reference, there's that. However, I don't think any of my friends could ever finish this, so skill issue, I guess. Oh, what is that? A perfect grade at the end of the year? Whoa, I can't believe this. I really logged in for physics, and my friends were definitely not upset about this fact, and they would not go on to mention this again, of course. Now, if you wanna play the game yourself, you actually already know what to do. mishipogdalish.io, link in the description, it's there, you can play it. I also tried to put it up on Crazy Games, the website that also hosts Battle, but for some reason they didn't like the idea, even though my other curse game is there, so their loss, I guess. Now, after this point, I was kind of burnt out. I had another game attempt with my sister making art for it, remaking Orbit again, now called Orbiter. I also tried out other game engines like Godot, Game Maker, and RPG Maker. I really don't know what was the problem, but no matter what, I couldn't really just sit down to make games. Before, I had this drive in me to sit in Unity just messing around with stuff, making random things happen, just coding anything really that I thought the game needed, even if the game would probably not come out, and even if I knew that. I was having fun, but I felt like that passion was gone now. Whenever I opened Unity, I just sat there, staring at the engine, and then I went to make some kind of simple controls for a 2D character, got tired somewhere on the way, and then quit, never opening the project again. It sucked. It really sucked. It felt like I was making such progress, and I actually managed to get some decent games out, but now it felt like I couldn't make games at all. I spent my entire 2024 in that loop, trying to make games, but ending up blankly staring at my engine. I didn't even know if I should put this in the video, because it's the exact opposite vibe that the rest of the video was conveying. But I felt like it was important to talk about game development transparently. It's tough, and it's really hard to come back from a burnout, and I spent even the large majority of 2025 with this burning feeling in my that I really want to make something, but I can't actually get it done. Like, no matter how hard I try, I can never make anything actually happen. Until now, it kind of just stopped. I decided to stop messing around, stop being so scared of 3D, and to just actually try it. Watch a few tutorials instead of trying to figure everything out on my own, and just make games for the sake of it, and not worry about whether I'm gonna release them or not. I mean, for the longest time I haven't released anything, and now I had so much pressure built up to try and get something out there that I couldn't even get myself to work. But my passion finally came back. Look at the 2 or so FPS videos I posted below this, messing around. It's bad. One look at the game tells you it looks like shit, but it's something. I made that, and I worked hours at a time in one sitting just messing around with the engine systems to get it to work, and I had fun. Just like in the old times. I'm sorry to make the end of this video so well, kind of bittersweet, I guess, but it is what it is. But yeah, if you want to support me, you can check out my games on mishipog.itch.io if you want to play them. If you actually play my game, Pedal Battle, on crazygames.com, I actually do get a commission from it. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, subscribe for more, I guess. See you in the next video. Bam, bam, bam.